Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. We're going to be discussing Mikel Arteta, the press conference. I mean, it's ridiculous that I'm really doing a press conference reaction just like around 3-4 hours before we go into the game. But it's fine. Let's get into Mikel Arteta's words and understand what exactly is his thinking. What is his mindset behind Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's exile and banishment at Arsenal? I would really, that is what I want us to focus on in this video. Why, what is he thinking? Why is he banishing Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang? I really want to get his opinion there. So we're gonna be reacting to his press conference ahead of the Leeds game. We'll try to talk about a little bit of the Leeds game, and I'll also be sharing with you comments of Fabrizio Romano in the last 4 hours. He's put out a video and he's actually told us what is actually going on with Arsenal behind the scenes. Right behind the scenes. So we're gonna be discussing much in this one. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel as well. Massively appreciated. I'm gonna say a massive thanks to everybody who takes it in his own hands to smash a like on the video. So guys, the topic in this video then is, do we have a crisis? Do we have a dressing room crisis at Arsenal? And is there a fight? Is there a row between Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Mikel Arteta, and the rest of the Arsenal? Is there this kind of big deal? That is the question that we want to address in this video. And I'm gonna say that we are sponsored by the beautiful people at Melbet. So make sure you do check out Melbet. Link is in the video description. Melbet are the leading betting company in Uganda. Make sure you don't get a mistake there. Melbet, they will give you the biggest and best odds in terms of matches. Just look at this odds. Today we have this big game. Arsenal take on Leeds, but look at the odds. Arsenal 1.9. This is free money, lads. This is really free money. I mean, 1.9 for Arsenal. Just go for that. I just feel this is free money. Leeds are really very but we will get into this game a little bit later. And of course, look at the draw, 3.9. But I think this is free money for Arsenal. If you're gonna bet on Arsenal, 1.9 is absolute free money. But anyway, make sure you bet responsibly. It could be a very addictive, and also your capital can go up as go down. Of course, betting, there is losing and there is also winning. So make sure you bet something that you will afford to lose, and also bet something that you are really sure of. So guys, let's get into the content right about now, and let's start off with Fabrizio Romano. That is the anchor we are going to be taking. Fabrizio Romano is the anchor I will be taking, and then Mikel Arteta's press conference will be what we digest on the video. I think it really makes sense if we do that. So Romano has come out and put up around a 6-minute video. I've watched it till the end, and I rewatched it again. So he's put out a video, and he has said that what is behind the scenes at Arsenal between Mikel Arteta and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. What is really going on? What we do not see and what we do not know. What we are not told with the situation. So the first thing he said is that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Arsenal have actually really fallen out, and actually, let me paint the picture. It is ugly behind there. That is what that is the paint. That is the picture he painted. What is going on between Aubameyang, Arteta, and Arsenal is ugly. It is pretty ugly. You don't want to know it. So he's saying that there is a lot of tension. It is really intense behind there. It is not as smooth as Mikel Arteta and the rest of the Arsenal fraternity are trying to show. It is not as smooth as it looks like. It is really tense. And Fabrizio also says that it is not only Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. There could be a couple of other players that believe in Aubameyang, that are really not happy with the situation, especially with how Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is being treated at the club. He also says that with just like Aubameyang, even with Arsenal, it is not only Mikel Arteta that is disappointed with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Actually, to put it very right, Fabrizio says that Arsenal are disappointed in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang because they agreed to give him whatever he wanted in terms of his contract. That is what Fabrizio says. They decided and they accepted to give him whatever he demanded, whatever he demanded on signing the new contract. They gave him whatever he wanted, and they're really disappointed that this is how things have turned out. He's become a messiroso. And the concluding words he said in that video is that I don't know why he thinks that it's good news, but of course it is good news. He said that Arsenal started looking for a striker months ago. Actually, he says months, not weeks. Right? He says Arsenal started looking for a striker months, not weeks. So that is my man Fabrizio Romano there, speaking about the crisis, and it says it is tense. It is ugly. It is very, very, very heated, behind the scenes. Right, at the front, Mikel Arteta comes out and says, all the players are focused, all the players are happy. Aubameyang took it easy and things like that. But the latest indication that shows that it is really tense is the fact that he's been banished from training. He's been banished, in performing in any of the basics with the club. So Fabrizio, big up to Fabrizio Romano, very, very good journalist there, one of the best in the world. Of course, I really look, in terms of transfers, he is the best journalist. In terms of general football journalism, I mean, there's so many good journalists out there. You have Charles Watts there. I believe he's really, really good. David Onstein is so good as well. I do love Kavi Solico as well. Damishas. There's so many good journalists out there, but in terms of transfers, I think Fabrizio is a brand. But anyway, we are not here to talk about the brand of Fabrizio Romano. We are here to talk about the dressing room fights, the tensions that could tear apart Arsenal Football Club. Because honestly, look, I say this in the first video today that we do not need that. We really do not need such situations. We are a club that is growing at a slow pace. A squad that is really growing at a slow pace, and yet there's so many demands that we have to fulfill. The last 20 years, we've been crumbling under pressure. We've been forced out of the Champions League. We've been forced out of Europa League now, and we've been forced out of the UEFA Conference League, where we have never participated. Right? So that shows you that there is a lot for us to do. There is a lot for us to do. The last thing we need at the moment is breaking the lines, breaking rapports at this moment, whether with players, between players and managers, or between players and players, or between staff and manager. You don't need that. You really don't. I think the only broken relationship should be between Kroenke and the fans, because that one is never gonna get amended until he wakes up and gives us what we demand. Anyway, so let's get into what Mikel Arteta said in his press conference, and of course we will try to dive into the discussion on a broader level. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section where you stand about these dressing rooms. Are they caused by the manager? Is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang too wrong to be banished? Let me know there in the comments below. So Arteta, first and foremost, spoke about the Premier League's, the Premier League's Omicron variant situation with COVID. And this is what he had to say, on the health of the squad. Mikel said we are waiting for more tests, which we will have this afternoon, and this is the only thing we can do wait and see. So I mean, it is at that level. I was talking to one of my brothers here, and he was saying that the level has actually multiplied by 3. So it's so difficult at the moment. It's so difficult. We might have an emergency meeting. Not might. We will have an emergency meeting on Monday where Premier League clubs will be engaging the Premier League, the Premier League leadership to try to find a way. Of course, there is a side that really says football should be going on. The likes of Jurgen Klopp, because Klopp feels like if you close up this at this moment, and then you open in January, it's gonna be winter still. And the virus is going to be here. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But there is also a side, led by the likes of Brighton and Brentford that have been hit hard, by the virus, and they are saying, we should hold football at least until the situation gets better. My opinion on that really is that. For me, look, health comes first of the players. You really can't force them. And a game like football, this is not table tennis. This is not, beach volleyball. There is a lot of contact in training. There's a lot of contact in football. In football matches, look at the fans. Yes, you could banish the fans, out of the stadiums. But again, football as the game, it is so there's a lot of contact required, and there's a lot of contact, in the game. It's so hard to just say we are gonna deal. We are gonna do away with contact. It is so hard. So Mikhail says on the health of our squad. We are going to be knowing whether there is any any update. But one thing I'm gonna say is that I'm going to give credit to Arsenal. They have really handled the situation really, really well. On the general fitness of the squad, he said, yeah, we have a couple of issues. We had a couple of issues at the weekend, but we will train today and see how everything, is going and how everyone is, is feeling. There on how concerning the general COVID situation is. He said, health-wise, I hope that we are doing. I hope we are doing everything we can to protect everybody. Obviously, the vaccine protocols are in place. Everyone is trying to do their best, and I am sure with everything we are doing, we can do our best to keep everyone healthy. In terms of the competition, 2 things: we need much more clarity about those games that are not being played, and what you need. And what you need not to play a game. So we are playing in the. So we are playing in the same league. At the end, the most important thing is that we are able to maintain within the context of fairness of the competition. And for me, this is a big thing. Now, I think he's right. He's absolutely right there, because look, games are being called off. Teams like Spurs, we are going to be 4 games ahead of Spurs and only 6 points ahead of them if we win against Leeds. So I think you need to know, these games that are not being played, what exactly is the plan? Are they going to be dropped? Because look, I think why it might make some sense, and this is me speaking from an objective view, why it makes sense to call off the league, why it makes sense to hold the league, is that at this point in time, there's so many clubs having pending games. Like, it's like you're going to create another league if you're not aware. United do they have 2 games now cancelled? So is Spurs. I think Brighton also have a number of games. So if just imagine if a team has 8 games postponed, right? If you have 10 teams having 10 games postponed, that is another league. I mean, it's going to cause a lot of disorder in the league. You're going to have the likes of Arsenal really in top 4, but I played much more games than the other teams. I think what you do is you could call for a break. You call for a break, and then sort out the situation. And then he also said that we need to know what it is that you don't want to play. But I think this is easy. The moment you're having around 4 to 5 players affected, I think high chances are that your game will be called up, because Spurs, did they have 4 players in the first place when the game, when their first game was called off? Brentford as well, around 3 to 4 players, and then it kept on becoming a long song. So I think, look, the guidelines have been set, and this is the tricky part with this disease, or with this pandemic. The guidelines have been set, but they only apply at London Colney. When players leave the training ground, it's so different. It's very, very different. Players go out there, they start having, parties, they go for tattoos, they do things like that. They cuddle with their girlfriends and things like that. Of course, you don't know where the girlfriend went. You don't know where, the family members went. And then when he comes back, him, after, isolating and taking care of himself, he goes back in a pool now of players, of people that could be reckless. So it's so tricky. It's very, very tricky. On sticking to the leadership, on sticking with the leadership group, he said, yes, as I mentioned yesterday, it has been going on. It has been going for months, and I am really happy with the leadership group. So, I think with the leadership group, we've discussed it at length. It is it's a group of players that lead others. I mean, it's so different from when you have that that captain always, right? It's so different. It's like you're having, you're being led by a group of players. Now, it's not bad. I don't have a problem with it, because Mikel defended it and said that the reason that's why you might want a leadership group is because you have a really multicultural group there at Arsenal. So the fact that it is multicultural, the fact that you have so many cultures in there, and people would want to express themselves in a way really easy to them. If you have a leadership group of around 5 players, regardless of who they are, it might be easy for the rest of the team to throw in their throw in their comments there, and feedback. That is what he said on how having 2 former captains in the squad affects things. He said, I always believe, and in a lot of things where I have been, we have always had a group of players that was responsible for making the decision in the dressing room and communicate with the coaching staff, the club, with the coaching staff, the club, and transmit it to our supporters. At the end of the day, that decision was transmitted by one person. It was the captain, but the decision wasn't made by one person. So look, the fact that we have 2 former captains in the squad, I don't think it is. Look, I'm not really even. I don't understand, but I don't think it is a problem. My problem is 2 former captains that have been stripped of their captaincy. That is the point. 2 captains that have been stripped of their captaincy. 2 captains that have turned into real cases of indiscipline. That is the point. And I think, look, when players now look at Xhaka and Aubameyang, I don't know how they look at them. I don't know what is the general feeling, among the players. But when they look at Xhaka and Aubameyang, the longest serving, they fall into that category. Oldest players, they fall into that category. Should be responsible, they fall into that category. I don't know. I don't know how they look at them, but. Anyway, on how close the team is to getting to where he wants it to be, he said that the last 2 performances have been really good in terms of what we want to achieve, in matches. The results that we got, and the way we dominated those games, but we need to be consistent, in that over 10 months to achieve the goals that we over 10 months to achieve the goals we want, which is to be the best, and we are not yet there. So look, my opinion there is, what I think, we are not close to where we want to be as a team, but the foundation has been laid. if we keep the same fire burning, if we keep up the same pace, if we keep on going, going on and trying to, create these, create these messages, reinforce them, I think Arsenal will get to a level where we want to be. But it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be, it's not going to be as easy as that. But I think we will get there. Really, we will get there. Okay, so on whether all the players were negative on the last round of tests. He said yes, but this is changing every day, and that uncertainty is that is the uncertainty. Sorry, that we all have. Hopefully, we don't have any cases, but we will have to wait and see. We have seen what is happening in the league and at many other clubs, and that is the reason why games are not being played this weekend. All right. On whether there have been many positive cases among the staff, he said we had issues in the last few weeks. Like everyone has, we are not an exception, and we are trying to manage. We are trying to manage that as well as possible, and that is what we are trying to do. So he confirms that we have some COVID cases in among the staff, like I've always been reporting. There are cases among the staff that have been reported, but there is no player at the moment that has the virus, and I think this is we are living on thin ice, right? We are really living on thin ice. If you have the coaches, if you have the staff, affected, then at some point in time, 1, 2, 3, or 5 or 6 players will get affected as well. Because it's contact. There's a lot of contact. On whether he's happy to play in the current environment, he said we always want to play when we have the right conditions to do so. 100%, but we have to be there on the other side of the table. When we had all the arguments in the world not to play a football match, and we ended up playing it. That is what I'm saying. We need clarity, because otherwise the fairness of the competition can be altered, and that wouldn't be fair. So he's talking about the Brentford game, right? He's talking about the Brentford game. So let me feed you in. What happened with the Brentford game is that at the beginning of the season, a couple of Arsenal players had tested positive, right? A couple of Arsenal players had tested positive, but then the Premier League ignored the fact and said, "Let the game continue." And that's why he's saying that we need to know the parameters in which we are operating. Right? It is not. It shouldn't be. Premier League says game continues, and then the game's on. Game's on. It shouldn't be Premier League says game's off and then the game is off. And I think he has a point. I think he really, really does have a point. The Brentford, because look, I can't say we lost the game against Brentford because of 1 or 2 players. I think Lacazette and Aubameyang were missing in that game. I really can't say that. I really can't commit to that. But what I can say is that Mikel is right. If Spurs has games because some of their players are sick, then Arsenal should have games called off, right? Because some of our players are sick. I think he's right. But I think the politics, from a political angle, that game was the beginning of the season. There was no way they were going to, call it off. There was no way they were going to call it off, right? And I think the Premier League had thought and had hoped that let Arsenal open up things, let the season start. Maybe later things will actually become normal. They didn't anticipate, or probably they did anticipate that things will get worse and ignored, or they at all did not and failed to anticipate the danger that would come our way, that would come in winter, because that is the problem. In the summer, you are fine, but in winter, in cold conditions, it's very, very different. The story is so different. On whether, asked whether the fear of COVID-19 is harming players, players' mental health. He said, well, we've done a lot of work, and we've tried to help our players and everyone. in the club, but I think it is a social thing. I think everybody is going through that, is going through something that is unprecedented, and we are all learning from it, and we are trying to normalize the situation that we've never been that we've never been through before. That is what we are trying to do. We are trying to help everybody in the best way that we can live and find the context that we are living in today, that we have to live with this virus, and probably for longer than we all expected. Actually, I think that is what is most scary. I think that is what is really, really scary, that we might have to live with this with this pandemic for a longer time than we expected. And the reason is that it's 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 adapting, right? It's adapting. That is what is scary. It's adapting. You hear, I don't remember the earlier variants that we had, but at least I know that we have some kind of dead sick variant that is affecting us. So I think he's right. We are trying to deal with something, trying to normalize it, but we've never dealt with it before, and it is unprecedented. Look, I'm not really a big historian, so I don't know whether it is really unprecedented. I know Mikel also doesn't know whether it is unprecedented, like it is incomparable to other situations, because we have had other cases of the Spanish flu. Many people have already said the Spanish flu was one hell of a scenario. We've had SARS, way back. I think was it around 2002. So it might not be unprecedented, but the magnitude is what is really giving us fears and threats down the spine. The magnitude is absolutely scary. It's so scary. When I think about the numbers this year, was it this year in January? Italy, USA? Yeah, it was this year. If you think about the numbers of fallen, fallen people who have fallen, just you just know what we are talking about. And Mikel says that with mental health of our players, we are trying to we are trying to help everyone. Big up to Arsenal for trying to help our players. But it like he says, it is a social thing. It's not that easy, right? It is not that easy. But anyway, let's continue on the Premier League being called off. Like their talks, and there is a proposal from Thomas Frank so that the league could be halted, or not really halted, but that the league should take a break. That is the angle, that the league should take a break until things get better. So is Mikel reacting to the season taking a break? He said, there are people that know much more than I do and try to find out what is the best solution. What the best solution is, to find out if we should carry on playing with the rules that we have at the moment, or stop it. I do not know. It is something that I want to give an opinion on, because I am not. It's something that I want to give an opinion on, because I'm not a scientist and I'm not a specialist, and we have to rely on the government and the Premier League to try to make the best decision. Look, he doesn't take a side there. That is quite brilliant. He doesn't take a side. But I think, for me, call it off until January, right? Call it off until January if the worst, before the worst goes to the worst, right? Because, again, we do not want Premier League to be halted for 3 months. We do not want that, right? There's so many players that are not vaccinated, and I'm not really discussing that here, but maybe if we give it like 2 weeks a break, right, we could find a better solution. Maybe. I'm really advocating for the Premier League to take a break before the worst goes to the worst, before our players really get this thing, because I know I've suffered from it. I know how bad it is as a person. On whether getting COVID Ali has made him extra careful with the rules for his players. He said, "We've been trying to explain what the risks are, how you can get it, and we have to do, and what you have to do if you do get it. But as well now." We all have relatives and we all have people around us who have been through that in many different ways, and I think everybody's awareness is pretty good. The thing I think is it's really difficult to control what happens outside when everything is open. So those bubbles that we are able to create before are now impossible to do. Right? He's right. He's right. I spoke about this. I think you can set the rules. The rules are there, but now look, you don't control the lives of these players. When they go out there, they can't do whatever they want. They can't do whatever they feel like. That is that is a fact. On whether Aubameyang is available for selection, he said no, he is not available for selection. On whether Aubameyang has a future on the club, he said for this game, he's not available for selection. So I think, look, this is the point. So Aubameyang yesterday arrived for training earlier, 1 hour and a half earlier than any player. Yes, he's not said sorry. Yes, he's not apologized, but look, you might look at that as an act of remorse, an act of I'm sorry, maybe I was wrong. I would like to do better. But anyway, not. But he's been banished. He's been banished from the side. From the side. On whether clubs should be more transparent about whether his players or staff have COVID-19, he says, well, this is what I'm saying, that we need clarity. At the end of the day, it's the regulators who make a decision about whether a game is going to be played or not. But to play under the same rules, I think we all have to understand the reasons behind it. On whether we would struggle to restart football if we stopped for a weekend, he said, I do not know. We're going to find a way. And we knew that when when we started this season, that this could be a possibility. And I'm sure there was a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C because this can happen. We have the African Cup of Nations in the middle of all this, and we have the World Cup coming up to and the dates of that. I think we need a flexible calendar now because this world is not the world that we used to live in 5 years ago, and we all have to be prepared. We all prepare with different protocols every single day for training seasons. You have to cancel training seasons. You have 6 players out. You have 20 members out. I'm so sure that the league has a flexible calendar and options to fit it because this is what we are living in. Look, I think the fear of the Premier League, is that what happened last season could happen again. I think that's the fear. You stop the league for 1 or 2 weeks, and then you have to stop it for another 3 months. I think that is what they fear. But I honestly think that if you look at the curve of people getting infected, it is not yet at its peak. It is growing steadily, fast. So whether they like it or not, the league will have to take a break. And when it takes a break, then you can't, because the league cannot take a break and then you call players back when the situation has not yet at least leveled or minimized. It's going to be really interesting to see, right? It's really going to be interesting to see. But I think the fear is that they want, FIFA and whoever is governing football, they want AFCON to happen. They want this league season to end in May, and then have the World Cup, in Qatar in November and December. They want the calendar year, to progress the way it is planned. But it's gonna be so difficult. It's really going to be so difficult. On whether he's worried that COVID is affecting the players' concentration and mental health, he said no, hopefully not. But we do need to make a lot of remarks on that, because because once we get to the competition, we have to be fully focused to do that, not use any excuses about what is happening in the environment. We know what we expect. But we don't know what is going to happen in 3 days' time, let alone 6 or 12 days' time. We can suspect it's going to go on. It's going to go one way, but we do not know, and we have to be prepared for everything that comes. And whether the young players have matured into men. The likes of Saka, the likes of Martinelli. He said, well, they're contributing immensely to the performance and the results of the team. That is true, but it is because they earn it, and it is because they have other senior players around that have been really supportive and helpful. The club has belief in them. They and have been. And having been given opportunities, they have taken those opportunities. So credit to the young players. Have they turned into men? I think that would be an overstatement, really. I think our young players will turn into men. I think there's some characters there that you would say have turned into men. Kian Tierney and Gabriel Magalhaes. I think those ones are real men. But next season, for me, it's going to be like a bar. It's no worries. Any player can cross that bar and move on to the side where you have matured, or you can stay behind the bar and cross next season. But these players, I'm still looking at their decision making. I'm still looking at the ability to win games by themselves. A player winning a game, for Arsenal, all that is still lacking. So have they matured into men? I think the conditions have forced Arsenal players and Arsenal Football Club to, have these young talents mature into men, right? But have they really turned into men? I think that is an interesting one. Yeah, that is really, really an interesting one. Make sure you're smashing the like button, people. Thanks everybody for watching in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Bottom right corner. Make sure you are doing that. So let's continue with his press conference and see what exactly he's talking about on whether it's fair for some teams to be playing this weekend and some not. He said, "I don't know what the best solution is. I understand that it is really complicated. It's a really complicated matter to make a decision right now. What I'm saying is, let's make the decision based on what is best for the competition and for the health of everybody that is involved in the industry." And in this society, we always stick to that, but with clear rules on what is a yes and what is a no. On how important he thinks the vaccination has been to avoid positive cases, in the squad. He said the vaccination is really important. First of all, just in case you catch it, and to prevent getting really ill. We have seen that obviously. That has been a massive help. Also, you see many other cases where they have been vaccinated, but they still caught COVID, so you don't know. Look, I think the vaccine, what is really interesting about this vaccine is that it doesn't give you absolute immunity. Maybe there is no vaccine that gives you absolute immunity, but the level of immunity with this vaccine, with these vaccines and this virus is quite interesting to look at, because you can vaccinate, get it, and die. Now, many people really tell you that, and many pharmacists and doctors are putting out information that you get it, you might, when you get the job, you get it, but you can't really fall, ill. But we've seen cases of people getting the job, and things really don't move in their way. So it's quite difficult. On whether he's comfortable with the number of vaccinated players in the squad, he said, yes, we are trying to do the right thing, and it is really it's really a personal matter, obviously, but we try to educate, and I think the doctor has done a really good job to try to explain to everyone because culturally as well, there are a lot of thoughts around it. We just try to educate them, to try to encourage them to make the decision. But first of all, they have to believe in it. I think. Look, there's been there have been threats and there have been proposals of compulsory vaccinations, right? That there should be compulsory vaccinations. Now, I don't believe in that. I really don't believe in that. I think, like Mikhail says, it's personal. It's a personal decision, right? You shouldn't say, if you're not vaccinated, don't come near the squad. If you're not this, don't do this. I think it is personal, right? It's really personal. All you have to do is educate people, and then I was listening to the president of my country, and he was saying that if you're not vaccinated, we're going to vaccinate you by force. And he was literally telling the people in charge that all the vaccines that have been imported have to be used before they expire. That is what he was saying. But it's personal. Players have to make these decisions by themselves. On how big the test, on how big a test the last week has been for him as a manager. And he said, well, every time you are sitting here, you have some challenges. You have some brilliant moments and some moments where you have to make the decisions. I'm sitting here to try to make the right decisions every day. My only intention is to get the club in the best possible condition, to defend our players and get the best performance and results on the pitch as we can. It's really challenging because those decisions are tough and not pleasant, but you have to do what you feel is right. Right. On what Aubameyang needs to do to get back in the squad, interesting. Really, really interesting, because this is the point of our discussion today, right? On what Aubameyang needs to do to get back in the squad. He said, well, he is not available for the Leeds game, and this is the situation right now. I think, look, Mikel I think Mikel Arteta is trying to make this situation uglier than it already is. Look, I think the perfect comment, and I know Mikel Arteta knows at the back of his mind that is the comment he should have been making, is that and I know he's made this comment before, because the question is, what does Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang need to do to get back in the squad? I think the perfect answer would have been, he is our player. Just like any other player, he needs to work hard and earn his position back in the side. But when he says he's not available for the Leeds game, and this is the right situation right now, and this is the situation right now, it's like you're locking. He has locked him out. He has no chance. He's not giving him a chance. He's telling him that it's end of the road. It is, the book has finished. Go and sign up a new book. The pages in this book are all dirty. I don't think that should have been the situation. I really don't think, right? But Fabrizio has actually told us that what is happening behind the scenes is pretty ugly. It is pretty tense. It is pretty, very, very tense. So, Romano, thank you so much. Now we know what is going on behind the scenes, and this situation. What exactly is happening behind the scenes? Now we know. On whether Aubameyang situation has any impact on Lacazette's future at the club. He said Alex's performances, involvement, and committed is without question. It's not related to his contract situation. I discussed it in the last summer with him, with what the situation was, and we are both clear on that. Our situation is something separate to that. I don't agree as well. I don't agree to that as well. I think what they're trying to do is, if Lacazette is doing well, they're going to keep Lacazette and freeze out Aubameyang. That's what he's trying to do, right? Because that is what he does. And I think now I won't be surprised if Lacazette gets at least 2 more years on his contract at Arsenal, and Aubameyang leaves the club, and Aubameyang is thrown out. On Lacazette becoming increasingly important to the team. He says he's always been a really important player. And since we've been together, he's played a lot under me. Really, I have always been really pleased with him. On his importance to the squad, he said he has always been a really important player. And since we've been together, he's played a lot under me, and I'm really impressed. I think that was just a repetition. On Martin Odegaard's contribution, he said he's a very young player, but he's already had a lot of experience, in different clubs in international football. I agree. I agree that in the last few weeks, he's getting very close to his best level, the ceiling for him. I don't know where it is with the talent that he has, the desire that he has, how much he wants to always improve and get better. We've got a tremendous player there, and that is not a mistake. That is not a mistake. Odegaard, last 3-4 weeks, he's been really on fire. Really on fire. Make sure you hit the like button, people. Make sure if you're watching in, make sure you're really hitting the like button. On being part of the leadership group, on Odegaard being part of the leadership group, he said he's a natural leader. If you look at if you look for the perfect professional, he wouldn't be very far from that. On his 2-year anniversary of being appointed as manager, he said, "I don't think the world is right for too many celebrations. I just feel proud and grateful for the opportunity I was given 2 years ago now." On reflecting on those 2 years, he said, "I could write a few books with everything that has happened, not only to me but around the football club, around the world in the last 2 years. I do not know. Probably one day I need to stop, think carefully about what happened and the experience that you have that you take. But it's been really a lot." On extending his contract, he said, "No, we haven't discussed anything like that. I think we have many other priorities at the moment that are far more important than my new contract." Well, really, seriously. I mean, if it is a bait, he doesn't take it. If it's a bait, he doesn't take it. But of course, he knows, and I know that that deep down there, he knows that these guys need to start talking talking to him about his new contract. Otherwise, they're gonna be panic modes. Okay. On whether that will be at the end of the season, on whether they will have talks at the end of the season for his new contract, he said, "I do not know really. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just trying to get the best out of the team, trying to cope with all the situations that we are facing at the moment. Things happen naturally." On Nicola Pepe's lack of game time, he said, "With all the players who are not getting a lot of minutes at the moment. Obviously, with the amount of games that we've got, there is not enough room for all those players. With Nico's situation, it is similar. I have highlighted on many occasions, it is based on what I see every day with Nico as well. But he needs more. He needs more opportunities to show what he can do. In the last few games, he hasn't had them. Look, I think with Nico Pepe, he's one player that I think needs a lot of game time to do his things. I don't know whether many people agree with me. For me, Nicola Pepe is one player that needs a lot of time to do his thing. I don't think he's going to have that time at Arsenal. I don't think he's going to have all that long time, at Arsenal to try to do his thing and things like that. He needs to start acting, as a professional already. He needs to step up his game if he's going to be, part of the squad. On reaction to why Pepe isn't playing, he said, "I don't understand that." He says, "I understand that. I have to try to make that decision on what I see every day. And to be fair, Nicola Pepe is really willing to help the team. The reality is that the position he plays, Bukayo has been playing regularly there and has been fantastic. So it's not busy for it has not been easy for him to find that time." Well, that is honest, and I think he says it all. For the first time, he says it all. Right, for the first time, he says it all. He says Pepe is having a difficult time because where he should be playing, Saka is there. And it is embarrassing Not for Mikel. It is embarrassing for Pepe when a manager says that. You know what it means? That a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old that has just turned 20, is so fantastic that you can't get ahead of him. Of course, on the left-hand side of the pitch, Martinelli and Emil Smith-Rowe, there is no chance for Nicola Pepe there. There is no chance for Pepe. So the only chance Pepe has is to beat Saka. Quite interesting. Quite really interesting. Because Pepe is not going to beat Saka anytime now. Saka has earned the right to play for Arsenal Football Club, both on a good day and on his bad day. You understand? Pepe has not earned the right to play for Arsenal Football Club regularly, even on his good day. It's only the money that was giving him the money that we bought him. I think that's the reason that's why he got so many games, in the start. But now the price tag is forgotten, and we have a decent player ahead of you. It's embarrassing for Pepe. He needs to work harder. Ojak Wilshire's standard in training. I said, first of all, it's great to have him around. He is the type of character who adds special feeling to the club. He comes in every day with a smile on his face, trying to do his best. He's a talent. His talent is unquestionable. When you see him training, I think you had some players say he is the best in training. So he has that. Now he's doing his coaching badges. It is completely up to him what next step in his career will be, and we will have to support him on that way. On whether he could play in the Premier League, I said yes, 100%. I have seen that. I can tell he had, I can tell he can play in the Premier League. And I said whether he can play for Arsenal, and he said that is a different story. So basically, that is all about Mikel Arteta's press conference, what he really spoke about, and look, it's been a press conference where Leeds have been least mentioned. If you've been following, Leeds have been least mentioned in this in this press conference. Least mentioned, and we play Leeds. You can't imagine. Right, but anyway, I think the reason that's why Leeds have been least mentioned. It is pretty obvious. It is pretty easy to understand. You have so many things going around. The captaincy, Aubameyang, holding the league, then Omicron. There's so many things happening around the league. So I think Mikel had to answer many questions away from the Leeds game. But to ask and answer one question, what I think about Leeds. What do you think about Leeds, Mikel? So what I'm going to answer for him in this scenario. Leeds are a decent team this season. They're suffering from a second season syndrome, and we should beat them. That is what I would answer if it was Mikel Arteta. But thanks everybody for watching. And make sure you're hitting the like button, and make sure you're also subscribing to the channel down below. Make sure you're doing that. Okay, let me see what you people said in the chat today. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're hitting that like button. We are at 31 likes, so make sure you're hitting the button. We are at 31 likes. Make sure you hit the like button. Just smash it. Just smash the hell out of it. Right? Okay. Let me get some of your comments here. Ajamba Eunice was the first person to comment on this channel, on this show, and said, let Aubameyang play. And Chinadu, he says, keep Lacazette and sell Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, period. Anu says, always remember to hit the like button. Thank you so much, Anu. I'll display that. There is a very, very good reminder. Make sure you always remember to hit the like button. Thomas Ferry says, hi, Cossy. Are we still playing today? The game has not yet been cancelled. I do not have any information about our game being cancelled. So as it stands, we are one of the clubs that will be playing today. As it stands, right? Yeah. As it stands, we are one of the club. We are one of the clubs that will be playing today. Gabriel Martinelli, Alexander Lacazette, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Thomas Partey have all tested negative so far. So that is good. As we get closer to kickoff time, 5 of our players, Gabriel Martinelli, Alexander Lacazette, Smith-Rowe, and Thomas Partey, 4 of them have been confirmed negative. So they are available for the game let us wait for more results, and let us wait for more. Big up to big up to that lad on Twitter who gave me that update. So at the moment, yes, you have a lot of cases, but our game still stands. Okay, our game still stands. Hala says Auba fits well with PSG, not Arsenal. Actually, it is believed that Madrid have rejected the chance to sign him. Madrid have rejected the chance to sign him. He was offered to them. So interesting stuff there. Chinedu says, right, let me read it from here. Okay, fine. Right. So Chinedu says Cossy always back Aubameyang and hate Arteta. Why not support these beautiful young players? Because we all know that no matter how you hate Arteta, he's not going to get the sack the sack letter anytime soon. That is your problem, people. That's your problem. You think I hate you think I hate Mikel Arteta like I lost my wife or girlfriend to him? No. Thinking that you're not good enough, someone is not hating you. It's those are two different things. I might think that you're not good enough, and I don't hate you. But I don't hate you. I might not. I might like you, but I might feel like you're good enough, and I hate you. Right? For me, it is easy to realize that Mikel at the moment is not better than other candidates that would be here. As simple as that. I'm not really trying to to create a fuss out of it. At what time are we playing, guys? Today we're playing at 8:30 today. Christian says Nico Pepe deserves to leave. All right. Chino says okay. I'll skip that. I'll skip that for a moment. Will there be a game today? Yes, the game is there. The game is there. We are traveling away from home, right? The game is there. We are traveling away from home. We're visiting Leeds today. So the game is there, right? The game is there. We are just having you're just having those difficult moments, right? Some games cancelled, some games on, but it is there. Gogo, welcome back to the channel. Gogo says Fazola, okay. Anna says, I'm really disappointed in Arteta. Arteta is not a good manager. And Gogo says, Fazola, how are Arsenal not doing it right? Please tell me. Gogo says, I really love what Arteta is doing because this I don't care attitude is what led Arsenal here. Wenger never paid attention to this kind of things, and we complained. Now Arteta is doing it differently. I don't think Wenger turned a blind eye. I do not think. I think the level of discipline during Wenger's time was paramount, was key. Discipline was paramount. Discipline was key, right? Look, there were not so, there were cases, but there were not so many cases like we have today. There were not really as many cases like as we have today. Honestly, to be to be frank. But anyway, guys, that is that is all about Mikel Arteta's press conference. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me speak to you in the next one.